So today's question is, yo, Elliot, how do I make myself more disciplined to get things done? And so in this video, I'm gonna be very transparent with you. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my weakness, which is lack of discipline. I'm not naturally a disciplined person. Discipline doesn't come as a default for me. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember my dad used to say to me, Elliot, you need to be more disciplined. And so with that understanding, you may be asking yourself, well, then how is it that you get anything done, Elliot? It seems as if you're able to achieve a lot. Million subscribers on YouTube, you built a couple businesses, you got a large family. So what keeps you, quote unquote, disciplined? Now, I've made videos in the past where I've said that motivation is bullshit, right? And so in terms of trying to get things done based on motivation, even that pales in comparison to what I'm going to teach you in this video, or what I'm going to share with you in this video, which is what really gets me going. Motivation, for most people, when you think about motivation, you think about this excitement that you have about what you're going to get if you do what you have to do. So a lot of people will try to motivate themselves by thinking about the car they want to buy, the house they want to get, the money they want to make, the girl they want to get. All these things seem like they should motivate you. And if they don't motivate you, you tend to think that there's something wrong with you. Well, if there's something wrong with you, then there's something wrong with me, because I never really, it's hard for me to be motivated for something that's coming up. It's hard for me to be motivated by money. For me to have like a dollar amount in my mind, like I'm gonna make $1 million, it's never been easy for me to keep that carrot dangling and keep chomping and chasing after it. Very few things make me motivated to reach for. But what does motivate me? What actually gets a fire under my ass? What actually gets me going is fear. I know that sounds crazy, right? Like everybody's like, you try to stay away from fear, that fear is a bad thing and that you don't want to be fearful. So here I'm going to kind of flip the script on you a little bit, where most people tell you have big goals and don't be afraid. I'm going to tell you, forget about your goals and find something that scares the shit out of you. So for example, when I was starting Strength Camp, starting my business, even when I started online and started making YouTube videos, I wasn't sure what was up ahead. I knew what I wanted, which was to be able to put food on the table. The main thing for me was the fear of not being able to care for my family. I knew I wanted a home for them, but even that was not as eminent as I can't pay the bills, or the creditors are gonna come knocking at my door, or I'm gonna have to turn off the lights, or I'm not gonna be able to buy food. These things that were gnawing at me, chasing me, chomping at my butt, those were the things that got me up every single day to do what I had to do. I'm kind of like a wartime general. I do really well under pressure. I need pressure there for me in order to get me going. It's hard for me to plan and prepare and to set. It's hard for me to prepare for the future. It just doesn't come naturally to me. If it's not imminent, if it's not right in front of my face, if it's not breathing down my neck, I have a tendency to just ignore it or forget about it, or not really see it as something that's important. So what I've found in my life is that when things are going tough, when the war is at my back door, when there is a threat that's imminent, that's when it's showtime for Yo Elliot. And so you might notice, right? Have you noticed that ever since this quarantine, ever since the Wuhan, right? I've been making a lot more videos. I've been making more videos, I've been making more products, I've been upping my game in a whole lot of things. I'm doing double the work that I was doing prior to this Wuhan. And it's simply because, in a way, I'm a little scared. I'm afraid of economic collapse, right? I'm afraid of societal collapse. Like, what if things get worse? What if people don't go back to work? What if there's not enough? What if the stores run out of food? All these things, although they don't haunt me at night, They give me a reason to get up and go a little bit faster, go a little bit further, go a little bit harder, because it's right here. It's coming. The lockdown, the quarantine, the Wuhan, it's at my front door. And so I'm highly motivated from fear, just to be clear and to be honest and transparent. Fear. And so what I like to do, what I found is that unless I throw myself into circumstances that are extremely challenging, it's hard for me to get going. So like with my business and with my family, I was able to get going and build that momentum because I was afraid. I was afraid of failure. I'm more afraid of failure. And I'm sharing this with you. I'm sharing myself with you here because maybe you see a part of yourself in me. I'm more afraid of failure than I am of success, or motivated by success. Check yourself out, right? Because if you're anything like me, someone who I'd rather run from the rabid dog than chase the rainbow. If you're anything like me, then what you gotta do is you gotta put yourself in circumstances that are threatening. So like with my family and my business, I was under the threat of poverty. I was under the threat of high debt. I found that unless I have to be like in a hole. I do much better if I find that I have to battle back from being an underdog. If I have to climb myself out of a hole, that's when I seem to get the juices going and get the motivation to do what I gotta do. And so you could, again, don't wanna make this video all about me, but I'm wondering if maybe you could see some parallels. Early in my career, it was imminent threat. It was do or die. It was food on the table or your children starve. And so I was making videos every single day. I'm gonna give you a tip in a moment here about how to maximize your discipline. But I was making videos every single day. I was going to the gym. I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, and I'd stay there training people, writing blog posts, making videos all day until about 7 o'clock at night. So what is that, like 12, 15-hour days, easily work 15-hour days because, right? I'm gonna get bit. I'm gonna get burned if I don't. But then when things started going good, YouTube started paying. I had a large email list and people were buying my products and Strength Camp Gym was doing well. I lost motivation. I lost my mojo. I lost the fire under my ass and I slowed down. Right? I can say this all to you in retrospect. I look back and I'm like, damn, I got comfortable. And so if you're anything like me, the worst thing you can do is find yourself in a comfortable situation. What you gotta do is find out how to make yourself more uncomfortable. Now, don't wait until there's a pandemic. Don't wait till there's an economic collapse. Don't be like me and wait till the dog is got his teeth sunk into your ass before you get up and go do something. Throw yourself into those circumstances, right? So move out of your parents' home, right? Elliot, how am I gonna do it? I don't have any money. That's the point, dude. You're gonna figure a way out, right? Me, I got my wife pregnant a lot of times. Elliot, what are you, nuts? Most people think I'm crazy. When I mention this, people are like, that guy's out of his mind. Why would you have all those kids and you don't have enough money? Why? Look at me. I was able to achieve. I was able to overcome. I'm an overcomer. I'm a triumpher. I want to triumph. I want to challenge. I think that's why I was attracted to weightlifting, right? Like I want something to overcome. And so I invite you to do the same thing. What will you need to what will give you the motivation to overcome? So moving out of your parents' house, go live in your car. Now you got to overcome the poverty of living even if you don't even have a car. Go buy a tent. I just went to California. All these guys living in freaking tents. Drive up and down the street and you see people living in tents. Well, guess what? Go buy a tent. And you're going to be so afraid that you're going to get robbed or raped that you're gonna do everything you gotta do to find a job, do a good job, get a raise, make some money, and get the hell out of that tent, right? I could have kept living with my parents. I really could have. My parents had enough space, and there was not a lot of, they weren't saying you gotta get out the house. when I had my wife and my first child. But I knew that I needed to get out so that I could be a big man and stand on my own 2 feet. And so I left. I ended up getting a really small townhouse. Didn't know how I was gonna pay the bills in the townhouse. I wasn't making enough money. I don't know why the hell they gave me a mortgage, but I was not making enough money to pay the bills in the townhouse. But I had to get up every day and go do it. There's another one also, like paying off debt. I didn't know how I was gonna do it. There were a lot of things that I didn't know how I was gonna do, but that's what excited me. That's what gave me motivation. Not knowing, being under the threat, having it not be all in my control is highly motivating to me, because that means that I gotta grasp, I gotta reach, I gotta scratch, I gotta go, I gotta get it, I gotta make myself motivated or stable, because if not, the bottom's gonna fall out. So that's it, man. I mean, I didn't want to make this video all about me, but I think maybe some of you guys will find some parallels between myself and you. Don't feel bad if I used to beat myself up. Don't feel bad if you're one of those dudes that doesn't get excited about goals, right? I think goals are important, they're great, but I get much more excited by fire, imminence, threats, danger, pandemic. These are the things that get me going, dude. So if that happens to be you, you got to throw yourself into the fire, right? That's the other thing about me. I'm impulsive. So I just throw myself out. I threw myself out, and then I'll figure it out, right? One of the things I used to say is jump off the cliff and figure out how to fly on the way down. Jump in the ocean and figure out how to swim, right? And here's one last one. Build the plane as you're flying it, right? If you're not motivated enough to build the plane and then go fly it, just get that shit up in the air, and before it crumbles and cracks and falls to the ground, you'll figure out how to put the pieces together, right? But what it would require, so I'm telling you all the bad things about me. I'm not naturally motivated, but what will help you, and what has been helpful to me, is courageousness. You can say courageous or crazy, but courageousness, meaning like, this looks like a dangerous thing. I'm gonna go do it. Go do something dangerous. I've said this before in other videos. Go do something dangerous. When you're under the threat of danger, you're gonna find a way to get motivated. Hope that helps, dude. Done.